He's reported to be a heavy cuddler.
I would cuddle you so hard. It's weird.
There was a story out this week. There was a book about a boy who claimed he visited heaven, and it was quite a popular book. And he's recently come out and recanted the story. Said he made it up.
Oh man!
Heaven forbid.
Yeah. And they're finally pulling the book from the shelves. Now he's not the only guy on the shelf. So I mean they've not cleared the shelf out by any means. But this fella at least is now off the shelf. And so I saw some interesting reactions for some Jesus folks. And maybe this falls in the same category of the false outrage, but it's like it's very disappointing how invested someone is to something that is not biblical work, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
how big portions, chunks of someone's faith are tied into an experience by someone else that didn't make the canon. And like I don't know, like I saw some pretty heated arguments about the legitimacy of the book, and like I get it, I don't believe it. That's me, okay. I know people that do believe it, and I think they legitimately love Jesus. So there you go. It's not a hill to die on unless it starts screwing with your mind. And I saw a higher percentage of people where it appears that it's been screwing with their mind than I would have guessed. I didn't think there were so many people that were so invested in the fact that this dude had gone to heaven and taken a peek around and thought that Jesus was cute. Like, I guess I didn't realize there was that much caught up in it. I just thought it was some people like, oh, that could be, okay. Surprise to me. I guess.
It is surprising. I think people they kind of cling to something like that because they figure it's proof. See, we told you it was right. And it's like wasn't he like a child?
Yeah.
When it
He was
happened?
6 years old.
6 years old. So you're gonna like rest your faith, your foundation on a 6-year-old?
It's the same kid that continues to think the Easter Bunny stops by.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? I mean, that's where you want to put your rock?
So I've never read any of those books because I just don't care. It's like it could be true, it might not, it might be a hallucination from
Chemicals
end
in
of
the
life
brain.
stuff, chemical. I don't know.
Could be dead on.
What I do
don't
know is what the Bible says. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, here's the thing. Is like when I hear these stories, like my honest reaction is seeing Jesus would be cool.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Not whether the guy saw him or didn't see him. Like, what caused it? I don't care. I just think seeing Jesus face to face would be pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what I take away from it. It gives me pause to think I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
But
and,
really,
and it's going to happen sooner enough, the way it is.
yeah, it'll show up. And so like, I don't know. I there was a time when I was really interested in this guy. Where people telling stories of how they meet Jesus and they meet their family or whatever. And I'm like, there's parts of it I'm just not buying, right? Like God brings glory unto himself. I don't know, the first thing that he's going to do when you get up to be in his presence is let you meet grandpa. You know what I'm saying? That seems counterintuitive to me. I'm not saying it is. It just seems odd.
Yeah.
But like, long story short, like, I just want to meet Jesus. And so, I'm excited that other people are excited to do the same thing. And whether it's true, whether it's not true, like, I just think meeting Jesus would be awesome.
So, do you remember the movie Ghost? Was that Patrick?
Yeah,
Swayze?
Patrick Swayze.
Yeah. When that came out,
That's Bruce Willis.
it was a different one, different Ghost. That came out, Bruce, Patrick is a.
Should read the Psalms, Dan, to calm you down.
He's living with his girlfriend. He doesn't know Jesus, all this stuff, whatever. He dies and goes to heaven, and the bad guy dies and goes to hell, kind of, in the nutshell, the movie. And I remember some gal coming back to church saying, I don't know how you could see that movie and not become a believer in Jesus. They were just excited. It was going to cause revival in the land. I'm like, this had nothing to do with Jesus.
Yeah.
You get to go to heaven because he was a nice guy. You felt sorry for him. Of course he gets to go to heaven. I thought, it's unbiblical. How's anyone going to go to
the
Jesus?
Westboro Baptist Church thinks the same thing about their signs. I don't know how people could see this and not immediately convert to Christianity. Ghost evangelism.
Think most of the stuff is spelled right. It's multicolored. It has all the attractiveness of a garage sale.
We got the word hate in there. Come on.
There's a little bit of controversy to stir things up. I remember having a conversation when that Heaven is for Real came up with the other boy that had claimed to have been there. And there were some folks that around me that had been reading it, and they were like, hey, Ben, you want to borrow it? I'm like, nah. That's all right.
Really.
I don't need to read that stuff. And they're like, why not? Don't you believe it? And I kind of went through and said, if you die once and then you're in heaven. And my wife goes, so I don't know I found the right woman. The right woman who can say something and then it stumps me. Like something that I'm like, oh, I got this. I know everything. And then like a very simple, basic question. My wife goes, well, what about Lazarus? And I said, shoot! Lazarus puts a bit of a linchpin into my confidence. I said, Paul wrote later. End of story. Let's go. Grab the kids out of the way, heading home. So I may have backed on how firm I was because I thought, shoot, Lazarus. Yep. Interesting. But he didn't say anything either. So I thought, I still didn't want to read it. But I thought, the minute I walk in any situation and I'm like ultra confident that I've got this, like all I need to do is I always should ask my wife. Anytime I'm really confident, I say, woman, I'm going to explain something to you too, and you tell me where I'm wrong. And she's got him. And I said, that's a good woman the Lord has sent me.
I've often thought about Lazarus. It's like with all these books we have out in the modern day. I thought, don't you think? But like we have, Apostle Paul's letters, we have Matthew, we have the Gospels, we have all these ancient documents. Don't you think Lazarus would have written something down if it was that fantabulous, of a story, that great story that he would have written? And we kind of have that too. That'd be like one of the extra Gospels of the story of
At
Lazarus.
least a falsified account, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. If you're going to make up a story, why attribute it to Barnabas? Attribute it to Lazarus.
I was there 3 days.
People
4
don't even
days.
like Paul. Let's just say Lazarus wrote this down.
Chapter 1, in which I stinketh.
This was blown way out of proportion.
I could smell my lips so
Wasn't near
rotting.
as bad as they let on.
Everybody likes to land on that I'm smelly. And here's the deal.
First off, let me clear the air.
That's right, the tabloid gospel letter. It wasn't like that.
So I was playing checkers in heaven, and then I heard a voice, Lazarus, come forth. No.
Luke's never liked me. He wanted to take his turn to make me look foolish.
Heck, I'm kind of glad Jesus didn't make any time. You ever live with those two ladies? One of them was all nagging about, and the other one doesn't do anything. All right. We're going to...
Lazarus, that's all.
We should publish a false account of Lazarus.
Oh, yeah, we should definitely do that.
I mean, don't represent it as gospel or anything, but it would be kind of fun to put together.
Yeah, we'll just write the falsified account of Lazarus. And then we'll put it on the internet. People debate it for days.
Yeah.
There's no evidence of this antiquity. I can't believe this.
The new pseudepigrapha. We stain it with tea. Isn't that how it's done?
We'll carefully line out exactly how we made it look the way it looked. We'll publish it anyway, and people will consider it the Lord's word, and they'll move on it.
By the way, Jesus had a wife. The end.
The sad part about this story is the story of the publisher really pressuring this kid to not say it was false.
Yeah.
I mean, I just have little respect. I should maybe have more, but I don't have that much respect for publishers. Honestly, they're a business. They're trying to make money. A lot of them in the Christian world, they're making some good stuff, and there's some good products out there. But why would you discredit your own credibility by doing something like that?
You know what would be hard though is like being put in that kid's dad's position. I'm not saying that it would be impossible, but like if my kid went through a life-altering state and woke up and told me they saw Jesus, I feel like I would hug her and let it be for a while, and then I would try to explain to her maybe a little bit later on how you probably didn't. I said, he's probably with you and whatnot, but like how do you look at your 6-year-old son or daughter and say you didn't?
This is not. That didn't happen.
You didn't see that.
Well, and what this kid said is he said I'd said that story to get attention. I hadn't read the Bible, and he's been reading the Bible, and he says it didn't happen. He said I made up for attention. The people are profiting off lies. This cannot be true based upon his reading of the Bible.
I love this kid.
And it was very short, succinct thing.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't go. I was kind of afraid that when I saw it that maybe he's looking for some attention on the opposite side of this thing.
Mhm.
But he wrote like 3 paragraphs, very succinct, did not provide any long arguments. He's just like, I made it up for attention. They should stop publishing it. That no one should profit from these lies. Jesus Christ is the only way. Love this guy.
Sweet.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
He really handled it well. So, all right. Now I kind of want to read it.
But that's the same reason you want to read that other crap. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just to see how far the depth of not true is.
No,
But there had to be some coaching going on for 6-year-old. There had to be some detail for a book.
that's a whole
you know.
book. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
that's true.
you think there's layers of lies. And,
It's very difficult actually. We're talking about Christian publishing, and even Christian radio is kind of the same way. Where you got to fill the air with what people want to hear, right? Like it's still you still got to do it. Stay on, and like being a publisher or a radio guy that has to say like this goes on. Hey, I completely disagree with this. I don't know if you guys remember when we were on the 10 o'clock slot on Saturday nights, and we moved to 7. because there was like a national. He may even still be on here as far as I know.
Yeah.
But like a guy doing prayer over the air, and like I listened to this guy for probably 45 minutes one night, and I thought this is awful. This is awful. Like I couldn't support this at all. And but it's a very tough thing because I mean like obviously people were calling in, they're interacting with it. I mean I'm sure the guy would listen to our program and be like a bunch of yahoos who
Right,
don't know
this is
anything.
awful.
They shouldn't be allowed on.
Yeah.
I mean I hear you, legitimate.
Good point.
But it's got to be a very difficult thing, given the wide array of content that is available in a publishing world, in a blogging world, in a radio world. Because the more you say no to, the more you've limited your audience because not people don't actually all believe the same thing, right? And aren't always open to being hearing new things. I suppose myself included. But it's just a difficult thing. It's a very difficult thing to say to decide, is this okay? Am I vouching for this, for even passing it on?
No, that's true.
Right? What responsibility does a Christian publisher have for publishing, that, I don't know, that one guy's book where he said he spent, X minutes in hell, or, like all those things. And I would feel some level of responsibility if we were letting people on our show and they were saying things that I knew that I didn't think were biblically accurate to have let them on, and I guess not follow up, because we interviewed that one guy, the Doomsday guy, that was under the Herald Camping folks.
Yeah.
And so like we had him in because we wanted to talk to him. Like I was interested in his discussion. We talked afterwards. We clarified where we stood on things and what we thought was the truth compared to what he said. And like I think that's okay. But I don't know. I just wonder. There's some of that worries me. That like, what kind of conscience or lack of do you have to say, well, I may not believe it, but I'll publish it for other people to buy and suck in, even if I think it points them away from Christ in some way or the other. I'm not saying all that stuff does that. There's a wide range of things.